Let's jump right into this explainer. We're heading straight into the cold, airless silence of the void today. We're looking at a grim, dark Gothic fable about a wanderer who actually managed to outlast the stars themselves. It's this incredible, deeply philosophical dialogue between an immortal wanderer and the Reaper. We're going to really dig into Nietzschean philosophy, this terrifying idea of the eternal return, and what literally happens to a human mind when it's subjected to a total suspension of meaning. It's a dark journey, so let's just step right into the abyss. Here are the chapters of the Abyss we'll be covering. 1. The Kingdom of Glass. 2. The Cyclical Abyss. 3. Aeon without telos. 4. The Erosion of Consequences. And finally, 5. The Mercy of Death. All right, Chapter 1. The Kingdom of Glass, or the Hubris of Duration. So the parable kicks off with this immortal wanderer building a fragile, absolutely beautiful kingdom of glass. And they're essentially declaring to the silent void that preserving something forever is what gives it ultimate worth. Having outlasted the stars, this wanderer is seeking the ultimate victory over time. They want to capture beauty, freeze it in place, basically convinced that making something last forever is the exact same thing as making it meaningful. But from the shadows, the Reaper is watching, and he whispers this one fundamental truth: duration is not the same as value. The Reaper completely shatters the wanderer's logic right here. I mean, think about it. The beauty of a kingdom, or even just the breath of a lover, is intrinsically tied to their mortality. They are precious specifically because they can be lost. In this boundless theater of time, the immortal's reach is infinite, sure, but their grasp is totally empty. By erasing the boundaries of time, the wanderer has unknowingly unleashed this kind of solvent that just bleaches the color out of every single experience. Moving on to Chapter 2, The Cyclical Abyss, the Philology of Stasis. Okay, we really need to redefine the word stasis for this context. We usually think of it as a peaceful rest, right? Well, not here. Here it is an agonizing prison where Nietzsche's concept of the eternal return becomes a literal waking nightmare. Try to imagine an environment where purpose and loss just repeat indefinitely, without ever giving you the mercy of a final resolution. You know, in psychology, there's this thing called semantic satiation. It's where you repeat a word so many times it completely loses its meaning. Now imagine that happening to reality itself. The cyclical abyss isn't a pit you fall into, it's a terrifying suspension of meaning altogether. And this creates what we can call the Sisyphean treadmill. In Eon 1, there's a clear purpose, right? The glass kingdom is built. But zoom ahead to Eon 1000, and that purpose has completely dissolved into this endless cycle of ceaseless, marching seasons. The wanderer just has to watch the repetitive decay of everything they try to cherish. Fast forward to Eon 10,000, and we've hit unending stagnation. It is a cyclical trap. The wanderer is forced to walk the exact same paths until the very ground beneath their feet literally loses its reality. And this leads to a massive philological decay of reality. Just look at how the wanderer's own concepts of self and existence decay over these eons. To us mortals, a word like rest means peaceful sleep. But to the immortal, it means unending stagnation. Time shifts from being a linear journey to this cyclical abyss. And honestly, the most terrifying part? The self devolves from an evolving identity into a perpetual stranger. The wanderer becomes totally alienated from their own vocabulary, their own mind, and their own existence. Which brings us to Chapter 3, Aeon without telos, the hollow dot. Every single day, the wanderer wakes up to what the Reaper, with this cruel smile, diagnoses as a hollow dawn. It's this state of constant, agonizing beginning that never ever matures into a meaningful conclusion. Every sunrise is completely bankrupt of spirit. Every dawn is just another reminder of their eternal stagnation. They're stuck in this loop of always starting over, but they have absolutely nowhere to actually go. So the really crucial point here is this contrast. We mortals, we seek aeon, which is eternal duration. We always want more time, endless time. But the Reaper points out that aeon without telos, meaning without a final purpose, turns time into a total mockery of itself. Think about it. The immortal possesses all of time, yet they inherit absolutely nothing. Why? Because they are denied the final purpose that only a final stop can provide. Without telos, aeon is just an empty vessel. Let's look at Chapter 4, The Erosion of Consequence, Absolute Nihilism. Within this void, consequence just completely erodes. If you have infinite time, what does any single action actually matter? Whether the wanderer saves an entire civilization or just watches it burn to ash, the act is reduced to an utter, insignificant gesture. In the mathematics of eternity, the return on investment for incredible heroism or terrible villainy is exactly the same, 0. The universe reveals this crushing indifference. The sheer scale of eternity makes the weight of any single choice mathematically void. This is the absolute nihilist's reality. Because there's no ending to anchor your actions, everything gets flattened. Your deepest sorrows, your highest joys, leveled by the crushing weight of endless time. The grandest actions just become a repetitive whisper in a universe that simply does not care. Endless time acts as that solvent we talked about, dissolving the value of every single experience. In the end, the immortal hasn't conquered the world at all. They've really just become a ghost in a theater where the play never ends, and the audience left a long, long time ago. And at this point in the fable, the Reaper does something chilling. He turns his gaze from the Wanderer directly to us and asks this mirror-like question. If infinite time acts as a solvent on worth, if eternal duration actively destroys value, then what is it that makes your own brief, fleeting life meaningful? It really forces us to confront the idea that our limitations aren't our weaknesses. They are literally the very foundation of our purpose. Which takes us to our final chapter, Chapter 5, The Mercy of Death, the True Provider of Value. The parable concludes with this haunting reversal. The immortal wanderer actually falls to their knees, begging the Reaper for the one thing they once ran from, the mercy of the grave. And the Reaper simply replies, "Death is the true provider of value." It is literally the only force capable of granting a story its resolution, of giving existence its structural integrity. So, having won the cosmos and defeated that final stop, the immortal realizes the horrific irony of their victory. They haven't won anything. They've inherited a void. They're standing at the center of the cyclical abyss, basically as a tragic monument to a life without meaning. They're trapped forever in a boundless theater where nothing truly matters, for the simple, devastating reason that nothing ever ends. And so, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to really chew on. Knowing the philological decay, the hollow dawns, and the crushing indifference of the cyclical abyss, would you ever actually choose to trade the precious fragility and value of a meaningful mortal end for the ultimate bankruptcy of eternal return? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. It's a dark dive into the abyss for sure, but I think it's one that shines a really brilliant light on the hidden value of our own fleeting time.